was a genius in real life. Smart, rich, respected. But everything changed when he entered a game where the stakes were his own life. There are no second chances here. Here, death is not a reboot, but the end. And now he is stuck inside a deadly event created by the goddess of the game herself. He wanted to reach the final, but now it's either victory or real death. This is the story of a genius who became a prisoner of a world where the rules are written in blood. A foreboding castle looms under a full moon, its spires piercing the snowy night sky. The path to the throne room is littered with the fallen, a testament to the hero's brutal journey. Despite his exhaustion, the lone warrior catches his breath, his resolve hardening for the final confrontation. He gazes up at his final target, a shadowy, imposing figure waiting at the top of the stairs. The 7th-ranked demon lord, Farza, reveals himself in all his intimidating glory, acknowledging the hero's title. Unfazed, the hero known as Elector Steel flashes a defiant, challenging smirk. Han Jae-woo readies his blade, promising to bring an end to the demon lord's reign. He unleashes his ultimate technique, a torrent of fiery energy aimed directly at his foe. With a wild and focused expression, he prepares to land the decisive, world-changing strike. But his triumphant attack is abruptly halted by the sudden appearance of a mysterious blue system screen. The system delivers a crushing blow with a disconnection notice, leaving the hero utterly baffled. Inside the game, the demon lord scoffs, unimpressed by the hero's now frozen and flawed final attack. Han Jae-woo screams in pure desperation, trying to halt the catastrophic failure of his reality. His face twists in horror as the world around him begins to flicker and glitch out of existence. The entire raid, demon lord and all, dissolves into nothingness before a final quest notification. His very identity as warrior Han Jae-woo is the last thing to flash across the system screen. A glaring red window delivers the final, soul-crushing verdict. He has failed to clear the game. The scene shifts to the real world, where 2 men outside an apartment discuss waking Jae-woo up. Inside, one of his handlers approaches the gaming pod, but his partner senses something is terribly wrong. The man holds up the unplugged cord in sheer terror, realizing his blunder has summoned a vengeful presence from the game. With a single glowing red eye, a furious Jae-woo confronts the man responsible for his failure. He explodes in a rage, his years of effort undone in an instant, while his handlers watch in terror. A flashback begins, revealing that before his gaming obsession, he was a different kind of formidable. He recalls a time when he was far from a recluse, but instead, incredibly popular. In his youth, he was known as a problem solver, using intimidation to get his way. Not just a brawler, he was also celebrated as a genius, effortlessly acing his work. This combination of brains and brawn led him to a life of immense wealth and popularity. But even surrounded by success and his crew, a profound realization began to dawn on him. His confident expression fades as he starts to see the emptiness behind his achievements. He looks down on his life's work and understands just how trivial his worldly pursuits truly were. He found his new purpose in the mega-quality VR game, Savior of Humanity. It was a single-player RPG with a massive open world, a perfect escape from his hollow reality. For a man who never even read fantasy, this world of epic battles was a revelation. The magic of this new reality felt more real than anything he had ever known. He was captivated by the diverse and beautiful characters he met along his journey. Their compelling stories and personal quests pulled him deeper into the game's narrative. This virtual world transformed the man who once valued only money and power. To fund this new obsession, he didn't hesitate to sign a massive IOU. He proudly flexed his borrowed wealth to acquire the billion-won gaming capsule. With a self-satisfied smirk, he fully embraced the madness of his new life choice. The handler on the floor tries to reason with him, reminding Jae-woo of the money he invested. Jae-woo simply offers a chilling smile, his patience worn thin. He then mentally lists all the dirty little secrets he's kept for his so-called benefactors. The handler fires back, questioning Jae-woo's own massive debt taken out for a mere game. But a single, terrifying glare from Jae-woo silences the man's defiance instantly. The handler's question about repayment is met with a look of cold, unwavering certainty. Jae-woo's plan was to create the ultimate guide, documenting every hidden item in the game. He faced down terrifying monsters and explored every perilous corner of the virtual world. No danger was too great as he meticulously mapped out every secret for his comprehensive walkthrough. Back in reality, he poured all that hard-earned knowledge into his masterwork at the keyboard. He believed his meticulously crafted guide would be the key to his financial comeback. Back in his dimly lit apartment, he meticulously organized his final preparations. His bank account bled dry, but he sweated through the financial strain with a determined smirk. The handler, seeing his chance, tries to lure Jae-woo back to his old life as a high-stakes problem solver. But Jae-woo shuts down the offer with a single decisive word. He strides past them towards the capsule, his mind set on finishing the game he started. His goal was never just to beat the game, but to unlock a true ending no one had ever seen. For him, reaching that ending was the only way to honor the virtual world that had given him purpose. He shoves his former associates out, ignoring their desperate questions about his massive debt. Finally alone, he shuts the door on his past, ready to dive back into his only remaining reality. With a final, resolute glance, Jae-woo turns his back on his old life for good. He places a hand on the capsule, ready to dive back into the only world that matters to him now. The system initiates the connection, blue data squares swirling as the game boots up. He rematerializes in the world of Savior of Humanity, right in front of the Grand Bayern Cathedral. His avatar, Elector Steele, is hit with a notification, a 22-hour suspension of the death penalty for his forced disconnection. He erupts in frustration, realizing the disconnection has completely derailed his money-making plans. Suddenly, a mysterious message appears, a voice seemingly acknowledging his predicament. Startled by the unexpected voice, he whips his head around, searching for its source. A figure with flowing white hair gracefully approaches, their presence commanding attention. Jae-woo is left speechless as a mysterious woman confronts him, demanding to know who she is. The mysterious woman introduces herself as Aquila, the game master for Savior of Humanity. Jae-woo scoffs, completely unconvinced that this childlike figure holds such a powerful position. She playfully winks, explaining that her youthful appearance is simply a matter of personal taste. He laughs out loud, mocking her claim and demanding more proof than just a fancy introduction. In response, Aquila simply snaps her fingers, unleashing an incredible power. The entire world grinds to a halt, freezing every player and NPC in place except for a stunned Jae-woo. A nearby priest is frozen mid-thought, wondering if he's witnessing a time-stopping spell. Another bystander is equally shocked, believing this to be an unheard-of SSS rank skill. Aquila casually reveals she didn't use a skill but simply paused the entire server to prove her point. Now that she has his full attention, she pivots to business, offering him a special 7th anniversary event. With a flourish, Aquila announces the opening of a new world, challenging him to be the first to clear it. Jae-woo scoffs at the absurd proposal, reminding her he hasn't even beaten the game with his current avatar. She leans in with a sly smile, playfully questioning if the challenge is too much for him to handle. A dangerous glint appears in Jae-woo's eyes as a confident, almost manic grin spreads across his face. Aquila then tempts him with the ultimate prize, the chance to see the game's elusive true ending. She reveals that the clues to this secret ending are tied to her special event. Jae-woo is left speechless, the weight of her unbelievable offer finally sinking in. He raises a hand to stop her, his mind clearly turning as he weighs the incredible proposition. To seal the deal, she offers an immediate free gift just for accepting the challenge. His jaw drops as a notification confirms a staggering 30 million won has been deposited directly into his account. Aquila playfully winks, revealing a leaderboard that shows Jae-woo is the game's #1 spender by a massive margin. He stares at the notification in disbelief, realizing the cash prize alone makes the event worthwhile, win or lose. With a fist pump and a sly grin, he celebrates being able to cover his crippling interest payment for the month. Convinced he'd be an idiot to refuse, he enthusiastically accepts her once-in-a-lifetime offer. Satisfied with his answer, Aquila prepares to transport him to the new challenge immediately. Her eyes glow with immense power as she begins loading the entrance to the new world. A mysterious triangular symbol appears on her cheek as the system finalizes the transfer process. Aquila reveals her true angelic form, floating in a cosmic void as the installation completes. The world around Jae-woo dematerializes, with every player and structure dissolving into streams of blue data. He finds himself standing before a lone door on a desolate moon, as a pillar of light descends from the heavens to open the path. Aquila explains that the lone door is his entrance to the new world, prompting a sarcastic remark from Jae-woo. He confirms that the challenge begins the moment he steps through, getting a cheerful nod from the game master. Without further hesitation, he turns his back on the cosmic void and strides towards his new destiny. He grips the handles and pushes the grand doors open, unleashing a brilliant, blinding light. Before entering, he shoots her a greedy smirk, reminding her to have his reward money ready. With arms spread wide, he marches towards the light, ready to claim the game's true ending. But as he walks away, Aquila's expression turns sly as she reveals one crucial, forgotten detail. She cheerfully informs him that in this special event, if his character perishes, so does he in the real world. Jae-woo freezes mid-step, his face a mask of utter shock and confusion at her terrifying condition. The horrifying revelation hits him with the force of an explosion, shattering his confidence in an instant. He's immediately struck by an unseen force, sending him hurtling through the air. Jae-woo crashes hard onto the ground, the impact knocking the wind out of him. He clutches his side, confused by the very real pain coursing through his avatar. He realizes with dawning horror that Aquila was completely serious about the life or death stakes. Gripping the earth in fury, he seethes at Aquila's name for trapping him in this deadly game. His shock turns to burning resolve, his eyes glowing with a new, desperate determination. He lets out a silent, furious scream, cursing the game master for her cruel deception. A notification appears, stripping him of his former title and marking the end of his old identity. The system officially announces the start of the game, sealing his fate in this new world. A profile reveals Aquila's true nature, the game's unpredictable AI creator and a god within her own world. The narrative explains Savior of Humanity, a globally loved VR game notorious for its crushing difficulty and elusive happy ending. Now trapped inside, Jae-woo stumbles through a forest, already suffering from severe dehydration. He furiously curses Aquila for her betrayal and desperately pulls up his status window to assess his dire situation. His anger turns to despair as he sees his new avatar is pathetically weak, with a mere 20 max HP. He realizes that after only half a day, his character is on the verge of collapse, making the happy ending seem impossible. Just as he's about to give up, the faint sound of dripping water catches his attention. A jolt of hope surges through him as he turns towards the sound with renewed vigor. He breaks down in tears of relief upon discovering a pristine stream, thankful for the game's realistic survival mechanics. Without a second thought, he dives face first into the water, greedily drinking as his health slowly begins to recover. Meanwhile, in a completely different location, an elegant hand runs through long, flowing hair, hinting at another player in this deadly game. His relief is cut short by the stunning sight of a mysterious woman emerging from the same stream. The enchanting figure turns away, bathing under a rainbow in the magical clearing. Jae-woo is so flustered that the system registers his excitement and docks him one precious hit point. He then notices a familiar triangular symbol glowing on her shoulder, identical to the one Aquila had. A jolt of realization hits him as he understands the significance of this mysterious mark. But just as he focuses, a system notification blocks his view, demanding he pay for DLC. He erupts in fury, outraged that even as a VIP he's being hit with a paywall. His protest is interrupted by a coven of witches who suddenly surround him, demanding payment. Jae-woo is left stunned and drooling, completely intimidated by their menacing presence. Elsewhere, the scene shifts to show two men lying defeated as a third looks on, hinting at other struggles in this world. Jae-woo lies defeated on the floor, his energy visibly draining away. The witches loom over him, warning him to stay put as his health plummets to a single point. The lead witch leans in close, offering a tempting but ominous bargain for his silence. The scene reveals he's not alone. Two other men are also captured, much to the witch's amusement. Now tied up beside another captive, Jae-woo nervously deflects a question about his strange behavior. He introduces himself with a fake name, Rudd, to the other prisoner, a man named Valor. Valor recounts his own misfortune, explaining he was ambushed by the coven while hunting. When asked for his story, Jae-woo awkwardly implies he suffered a similar fate to avoid suspicion. While his fellow captive offers sympathy, Jae-woo secretly begins cutting his ropes with a concealed blade. Despite being bound, he smirks with confidence, believing this escape is well within his abilities. When asked if he has a plan, Jae-woo's eyes gleam with absolute certainty as he confirms he does. He internally reveals his secret advantage. He's the one who wrote the original strategy guide to defeat these very witches. A flashback shows his past self, grinning maniacally after spending 3 whole days figuring out their weaknesses. The narrative introduces the 5 infamous witches of Havl: Gunda, Kaldura, Aldaida, Fugul, and their leader, Hejuju. These early game bosses are notorious for ending thousands of players' runs, standing over a pile of skulls. Jae-woo smirks as he watches them bicker, identifying their key weakness as a lack of teamwork. His unsettling, greedy expression makes his fellow captive, Valor recoil in confusion. Just as he's about to act, a sudden thought strikes him, causing him to pause his escape plan. He decides to test a theory, deliberately provoking the witch named Fugul, triggering a system alert. Jae-woo taunts her about her supposed death at Haejuju's hands, earning a sharp warning to stay silent. The lead witch, Haejuju, calmly interrupts, her expression unreadable. But the provocation works perfectly, as a system notification confirms Fugul's deep-seated hatred for her leader. Valorstead, playing along, whispers a fabricated rumor about Haejuju's plan to steal Fugul's assets. Fugul completely loses her composure, screaming at Haejuju and demanding to know if the rumor is true. Haejuju sighs, annoyed that her subordinate would so easily believe the words of a prisoner. Jae-woo can't hide his smug satisfaction as his plan to sow discord unfolds flawlessly. He doubles down, now taunting Haejuju for her greed, successfully triggering her own insecurities. A third witch, Aldaida, cluelessly adds fuel to the fire, confirming Haejuju was making a dangerous concoction. Meanwhile, the fourth witch, Gunda, ignores the chaos, her only concern being her rumbling stomach. And the final witch, Kaldura, grins with bloodlust, thrilled at the idea of an impending brawl. With a maniacal grin, Jae-woo receives a system notification confirming he successfully provoked all 5 witches. The coven's lack of teamwork becomes obvious as 2 of the witches immediately start brawling. Rather than intervening, the other coven members eagerly encourage the infighting. This fatal flaw is why countless players, unaware of the coven's internal strife, have fallen before them. Exploiting this weakness, Jae-woo watches as the entire coven descends into a chaotic free-for-all. Valorstead stares in awe, urging Jae-woo to use this perfect opportunity to escape their bonds. However, Jae-woo pauses his escape, revealing he has one more trick up his sleeve. In a completely unexpected move, he yanks the rug out from under the distracted witches, sending them tumbling. His maneuver reveals a hidden trap, leaving the entire coven stuck and helpless in a viscous substance. With the witches completely neutralized, Jae-woo confidently points Valorstead towards the exit. Jae-woo mockingly waves goodbye as system alerts confirm the witches have taken damage, noting they're a great source of experience. His victory is cut short as Fugul's spectral snake suddenly ensnares his leg, limiting his movement. From the trap, a desperate Fugul glares with vengeful intent, refusing to go down without a fight. Pinned to the floor, he frantically struggles as the snake's attacks narrowly miss their mark. A wave of panic hits him as he remembers his current body is far too weak to break free on its own. Just in the nick of time, his fellow captive Valorstead shouts, offering his assistance. Without hesitation, Valorstead rushes forward, sword drawn and ready to sever the magical restraint. With a clean strike, Valorstead's blade slices through the snake, freeing a stunned Jae-woo. Valorstead checks on his companion, who gratefully confirms he's unharmed thanks to the timely intervention. Rising to his knees, Jae-woo immediately asks to borrow Valorstead's bow, prompting a questioning look from his rescuer. A system window displays the stats of the borrowed bow as Jae-woo grips it tightly. He confidently draws the string, admitting he knows just enough to be dangerous. Instead of aiming at the witches, he targets a large cauldron hanging directly above their trap. His arrow shatters the container, causing its contents to rain down on the helpless coven. Haejuju looks up in confusion, a sense of dread washing over her as she sees the falling debris. Her face pales with terror as she recognizes the deadly concoction she was brewing earlier. Fugul shrieks in disbelief, realizing the horrifying trap they've fallen into. A corrosive green liquid pours down, mixing with the substance that holds them captive. The 2 substances react violently upon contact, triggering a catastrophic chain reaction. A massive fiery explosion erupts from the pit, completely engulfing the trapped witches. The force of the explosion sends debris flying, hitting both Jae-woo and Valorstead. Valorstead cautiously wonders if they succeeded, earning a panicked gesture from Jae-woo not to jinx their victory. A system window confirms their success, listing the defeat of all 5 witches and awarding a massive amount of points. Jae-woo stares at the confirmation screen with relief, finally certain that the witches are gone. He can't contain his greedy excitement, realizing he's hit the jackpot with this early game victory. A grateful Valorstead approaches, thanking Jae-woo profusely for saving him from certain doom. Jae-woo calmly turns to his companion, downplaying his role in their escape. As a token of thanks, Valorstead offers him a small pouch, which the system identifies as red dragon fruits. Jae-woo is genuinely shocked by the unexpected gift, realizing this event never happened in his original game experience. Valorstead proudly explains he swiped the valuable-looking fruits from the witch's lair while they were distracted. Jae-woo enthusiastically shoves the pouch of fruits into his pants, overcome with gratitude. A golden aura erupts around him as a system window announces his transformation into a mighty dragon bone. He marvels at the system window, which confirms an incredible game-changing boost to all his stats. Valorstead watches on with a smug and satisfied smirk, clearly pleased with the outcome. With his cheeks still puffed from devouring the fruits, Jae-woo stares back at his companion. The monster hunter then extends an invitation, asking Jae-woo if he's interested in joining a hunt. Jae-woo silently considers the proposition, his expression thoughtful. The system confirms his choice, officially unlocking a new relationship route with the monster hunter. An info dump reveals the critical role of the Guardian class, the sole protectors against the world-ending Legion of Darkness. He smirks with newfound knowledge, already calculating how to exploit this crucial piece of game lore. Still chewing, Jae-woo pumps his fists, feeling the surge of his new power. He initially rejects the monster hunter's offer, claiming he's too busy for a hunt. A sudden realization hits him as he sees a golden opportunity in Valorstead's proposal. He recalls the massive amount of experience he's gained, which will vanish without a class to assign it to. As the monster hunter begins to depart, Jae-woo abruptly stops him with a new offer. 3 months. With a determined gaze, he challenges Valorstead, asking if 3 months is sufficient time for his training. The monster hunter turns back with a cunning grin, amused by Jae-woo's bold proposition. With the deal struck, the two venture deep into the vast forest to begin their training. Valorstead lays out the first challenge, instructing Jae-woo to find a hiding spot anywhere in the woods. He then gives his new student a 30-minute head start before he begins his relentless pursuit. Jae-woo analyzes the monster tracking skill, noting his own surprisingly quick progress. He confidently flees, recalling his countless explorations of this very forest. With a determined clench of his fist, he relies on his intimate knowledge of the terrain. He leaps through the woods, remembering every detail down to the smallest twig. The forest is a maze of disorienting trees and hazardous, toxic mushrooms. He even has to evade ferocious beasts more dangerous than the witches he just defeated. Bolstered by the red dragon fruit, his nearly maxed-out physical abilities give him a huge advantage. A smug grin crosses his face, certain that Valorstead won't be able to find him. His confidence instantly evaporates as an unsettling presence makes him freeze. Valorstead suddenly appears directly behind him, shattering his composure with a terrifying greeting. Valorstead mockingly grades his performance, adding a few bonus points for passion. A stunned Jae-woo demands to know how he was found, but the hunter only teases him about his curiosity. The monster hunter admits with a grin that it's been a long time since he's had such an entertaining student. He cheerfully leads his dejected student back, ready to continue the intense training. A system window confirms the completion of the hunter's hazing and unlocks the next stage, Hunter's Trial. Jae-woo officially acquires the Monster Hunter class, along with a suite of essential skills for the trade. He examines his newly acquired monster tracking skill, a confident smirk playing on his lips. With glowing eyes and a wicked grin, he embraces the power of his new class. Their new partnership is sealed under a clear blue sky, marking the start of a new chapter. 3 months later, Valorstead sits by their camp, amazed that Jae-woo has already mastered all his teachings. Jae-woo flips the script with a cocky grin, challenging his master to a game of hide-and-seek. Amused, Valorstead accepts the challenge, patting his student's shoulder in admiration of his spirit. The master adds a wager with a sly smile. If Jae-woo fails to find him in an hour, he's cooking dinner. Jae-woo coolly agrees to the terms, his expression radiating absolute confidence. With his eyes glowing ominously, he unleashes his tracking senses and dashes into the woods, ready for the hunt. Elsewhere, Valorstead scales a sheer cliff, feeling pleased to have found such a promising apprentice. He decides to go easy on his student, choosing a hiding spot that isn't too impossible to find. The hunter smugly assumes his cliffside perch will be more than enough to stump Jae-woo for an hour. His confidence shatters as a hand suddenly clamps down on his ankle from below. Valorstead looks down in complete disbelief, finding his student already waiting for him on the cliff face. With a terrifying grin and glowing eyes, Jae-woo taunts his utterly shocked master from below. A flashback reveals Valorstead's disbelief at being found so easily after only 3 months of training. The hunter recalls another instance where his student appeared from the bushes, having completely mastered his techniques. He remembers being spotted in a treetop, astounded that Jae-woo learned in months what took him 5 years. Back in the present, Valorstead retreats deep into a dark and foreboding cave for his ultimate hiding spot. He nervously tries to reassure himself, certain that even Jae-woo wouldn't dare follow him into such a dangerous place. A sudden, terrifying realization dawns on him as he identifies the cave as a hellhound's nest. Jae-woo suddenly appears behind him, ready to offer his first tip as the guardian of humanity. He calmly grabs his master, explaining that even an earthquake won't wake a sleeping hellhound. With a triumphant smirk, he coolly asks his petrified master if he has passed the trial. Valorstead sweats, grudgingly acknowledging that his student has indeed passed the trial. Back at camp, the master marvels at Jae-woo's rapid mastery, but Jae-woo credits his teacher's guidance. Jae-woo internally recalls unleashing a powerful 5-hit skill combo, a testament to his newfound strength. He playfully flatters his master, secretly knowing his massive EXP from the witch hunt was the real key to his growth. Valorstead is further stunned when Jae-woo reveals he didn't just learn monster ecology, he literally wrote the book on it. The hunter erupts in laughter, convinced his one-of-a-kind apprentice is destined for greatness. With the training complete, Valorstead asks about Jae-woo's next move, curious about his future plans. Jae-woo's eyes gleam with a new goal, confidently declaring his immediate priority is to make a fortune. Seizing the opportunity, Valorstead proposes mercenary work and offers to connect him with a friend in the trade. Jae-woo's interest is piqued, realizing that becoming a mercenary is the perfect first step to building his wealth. He grins, picturing the thrilling freedom of a mercenary's life, filled with epic monster battles. He smirks, realizing this path might even lead him to the legendary guardians of the game. He eagerly accepts the offer, sealing the deal with a firm, enthusiastic handshake. Valorstead gifts him his old mercenary badge, a golden token that will grant him access to the network. With a final, respectful farewell, Jae-woo parts ways with his proud master Valorstead. Brimming with confidence from his recent victories, Jae-woo sets off as his master cheers him on. He clutches the badge tightly, a fierce determination on his face as he realizes a happy ending might be possible. As his eyes glow with power, a mysterious question about seeing the end fills his thoughts. Gazing at the golden badge, he dares to hope that a true ending is not just a fantasy. Elsewhere, a mysterious blue-haired woman materializes, holding a glowing artifact described as a clue to the true ending. Jae-woo contemplates the log out button, embracing the thrill of a game where death is permanent. He resolves to channel the constant tension of this world into his own power. With a surge of adrenaline, he steels his resolve for the path ahead. He dashes off, vowing to reach the true ending for someone named Aquila. A system notification confirms his quest completion and directs him to join the mercenary guild. Meanwhile, a mysterious woman floating in space erupts in uncontrolled laughter. The blue-haired observer finds Jae-woo's past escape from the witch utterly hilarious. Wiping a tear from her eye, she feels validated in her decision to watch over him. Her amusement is cut short as a massive glowing figure descends from the cosmos. As the radiant being lands, she immediately recognizes its extraordinary nature. The blue-haired woman playfully teases the divine being, suggesting she has a romantic interest in Jae-woo. The radiant goddess Aquila is formally introduced as she looks down upon the mischievous observer, Valfurga. Aquila denies any romantic feelings, citing her duty as a god, but Valfurga cheekily insists there's no harm in it. The goddess turns away, a slight blush revealing she's flustered by the accusation. Valfurga laments that Aquila has become too serious, recalling a time when she was more fun-loving. Aquila changes the subject, asking if Valfurga truly settled Jae-woo's debt from long ago. Upon learning the debt was paid, Aquila realizes Jae-woo is fighting for a cause that's already resolved, calling Valfurga ruthless. Valfurga finds the whole situation highly entertaining, seeing no issue with letting Jae-woo struggle. She points to a vision of Jae-woo, admiring his vibrant determination as he pursues his goals. Aquila condemns her friend's actions as awful, but Valfurga simply accepts it as a compliment. Valfurga turns to Aquila, asking if Jae-woo is a part of her grand plan. She then provocatively asks if he's merely a plaything, causing the goddess to look away in thought. The mischievous observer lounges back with a smug expression, enjoying Aquila's discomfort. Valfurga slyly rephrases her assessment, labeling Jae-woo as a promising talent. Her eyes glow with a purple hue, revealing a deep and calculating interest in his future. The two beings decide to continue observing Jae-woo as he journeys through a forest. A system tip warns Jae-woo that any unused experience points will disappear after 1 month. He suddenly collapses to the ground, a system window confirming he's in an exhausted state. Catching his breath, he looks back, baffled by the sheer difficulty of the forest he just crossed. He forces himself up, crediting his powerful body for the half-day trek and preparing to press onward. After his grueling journey, Jae-woo finally arrives, gazing down at the bustling city of the mercenary corps. A system notification confirms his arrival as two cheerful waitresses welcome him into a lively tavern. He awkwardly scratches his head, explaining to the staff that he's actually searching for a specific person. Jae-woo internally celebrates, recognizing the classic tavern setting as the ideal spot for gathering intel. He observes the boisterous crowd, knowing that loose lips and good drinks are a perfect combination for information. He can't help but blush as the friendly waitresses get a little too close for comfort. With a sly grin, he asks the waitress if she knows of a man named Rebes Chaltz. The cheerful atmosphere instantly vanishes as the entire tavern falls silent and glares in his direction. A terrified waitress grabs his arm, warning him that speaking that name is strictly forbidden in this place. Her colleague trembles, revealing that Rebes is a dangerous man who caused trouble for her boyfriend in the past. Jae-woo recoils in horror as the waitress explains her boyfriend returned from a mission with Rebes completely broken. As the inn's morale plummets, he realizes the man he was told to find, Rudd, is just a low-level mercenary. The terrified waitress frantically shoves him, urging him to flee before the dangerous man arrives. Before he can react, a powerful hand clamps down on his shoulder, stopping him in his tracks. Jae-woo turns around, annoyed, to confront the imposing figure who just grabbed him. The man, radiating a menacing aura with glowing red eyes, introduces himself as the infamous Rebes Chaltz. Rebes' intense gaze falls upon the gleaming mercenary badge hanging from Jae-woo's waist. Recognizing it as Rudd's badge, Rebes connects the dots and identifies Jae-woo as the newcomer. A wicked grin spreads across Rebes' face as he declares he's found the perfect new companion for his battles. Jae-woo's expression darkens with fury as he understands Rudd's betrayal, silently cursing the man who set him up. Rebes dismisses his threat with a sinister laugh, claiming he was only joking. Jae-woo internally swears vengeance on Rudd, promising a fatal reunion. Rebes cheerfully explains that Jae-woo is now his unwilling partner in an upcoming war. He finds the forced recruitment hilarious, framing it as a golden opportunity for Jae-woo. The conflict involves the Prince Elector, a powerful guardian of the game from the state of Paltz. Jae-woo's mind races, seeing this as a chance to gather intel on the other guardians. Suddenly, the sound of a horn cuts through the air, announcing a grand arrival. Rebes grins as an ambush notification appears, confirming Jae-woo has taken damage from a surprise attack. The grand procession of the Prince Elector and his knights marches through the city streets. While Rebes admires the knights, Jae-woo realizes this unexpected turn of events is far from what he anticipated. Jae-woo sizes up the Prince Elector, a guardian who gives off a distinctly villainous vibe. Still in Rebes' grip, he stares in confusion at the unfolding spectacle. His expression shifts to one of utter shock as he recognizes a familiar figure in the procession. A blonde-haired knight in brilliant winged armor rides confidently toward them. The camera focuses on her gleaming armor and the elegant sword at her side as she sits atop her steed. Jae-woo is stunned to realize the knight is none other than Dame Valfurgis. The Prince Elector glances over, noticing his knight's attention has drifted. With a knowing smirk, he asks if something is amiss, calling out her distraction. Valfurgis is momentarily flustered, caught off guard by his pointed question. She quickly denies it, but her averted gaze and faint blush tell a different story. Jae-woo watches as the knight and her soldiers march off toward the battlefield. A flashback reveals Valfurgis was his trusted companion in previous game attempts. He painfully recalls how he always failed to save her from a monstrous, otherworldly entity. Each time his efforts ended in the same tragic outcome, fueling his frustration. Snapping back to the present, he hides his turmoil when Rebes questions his intense focus. Meanwhile, Valfurgis steals her resolve, a faint blush still visible beneath her helmet. Jae-woo, now glowing with determination, silently vows to change her fate this time around. His attention is then drawn to a wide courtyard where mercenaries are fiercely training. Blades clash and sparks fly as the fighters engage in relentless sparring matches. Jae-woo smirks, impressed by the sheer intensity of the Marine Corps' training regimen. A system notification confirms their arrival at the training grounds of Rebes Chaltz's mercenary corps. Rebes grins, announcing they've arrived just in time to select group leaders through sparring matches. A victorious mercenary celebrates with a bag of prize money after soundly defeating his opponent. Jae-woo decides to keep a low profile, reminding himself his only goal is to contact the Prince Elector. His plan is immediately ruined as Rebes grabs him, declaring that he's participating in the fights. Rebes dismisses his shock, confident that Rudd would only send someone with fighting prowess. He then drags Jae-woo forward, offering the newbie as a challenger to the other mercenaries. The crowd of fighters erupts with excitement, eagerly volunteering to take on the fresh meat. With a dark smirk, Jae-woo accepts his fate, deciding he must seize power to survive. He now stands in the center of the courtyard, facing his first opponent as the mercenaries form a circle. A burly mercenary named Max confidently steps up, and a system notification confirms his challenge to a duel. The challenger mocks Jae-woo's seemingly frail physique, but Jae-woo remains unfazed by the taunt. With a gleeful smile, Reebes confirms that both combatants are ready to start the match. At Reebes' command, the fight begins with Max and Jae-woo circling each other in the makeshift arena. Max unleashes a ferocious battle cry as he charges forward, swinging his sword in a powerful arc. In a flash, Jae-woo's sword is sent flying from his hand, seemingly disarmed by the initial clash. The watching mercenaries and even Reebes stare in disbelief at the unexpected outcome. But it's Max who lies defeated on the ground, as a system notification confirms Jae-woo's instant victory. Jae-woo calmly sheathes his sword, internally crediting his overwhelming strength to the red dragon fruits he consumed. His stunning one-hit victory ignites the crowd, with every other mercenary now clamoring for a chance to fight him. Jae-woo wears a strained, manic grin, overwhelmed by the mercenaries' sudden enthusiasm. He internally pleads for them to form a line, struggling to maintain his cool facade. In a flash, he demonstrates his intermediate swordsmanship, effortlessly felling another challenger and gaining fame. He then switches tactics, using a monster binding technique to comically restrain a brawny fighter. Not stopping there, he uses a brutal monster headbutt to take down yet another opponent. A new, formidable mercenary steps forward, scolding his comrades for their embarrassing performance against a newcomer. The mercenary Charlotte taunts Jae-woo, confidently declaring he'll be the one to end his streak. But as Charlotte faces him, he's unnerved by Jae-woo's intimidating aura, questioning the source of his immense power. Suddenly, Jae-woo's expression shifts to panic as he realizes the situation has spiraled out of his control and tries to escape. He stares in horror at his system window, discovering that the option to log out is completely unavailable. Jae-woo frantically tries to beg for a 1-minute timeout, sarcastically blaming the game's creator for his predicament. His opponent, Charlotte, roars in defiance, lunging forward to deny him any chance of a reprieve. Jae-woo's panic fades into a look of weary acceptance as he reflects on his seemingly cursed destiny. Resigning himself to the fight, his eyes gleam with renewed determination to settle things once and for all. With surprising strength, he grabs hold of the charging mercenary, preparing to counterattack. Jae-woo unleashes a powerful monster slam, effortlessly hoisting the massive fighter into the air. Charlotte is driven into the ground with enough force to crack the stone courtyard beneath him. The dazed mercenary lies defeated, his eyes blank as he questions the sheer power of the attack. Catching his breath, Jae-woo receives a system notification confirming his victory and another boost to his fame. The watching mercenaries are left in utter shock, questioning Reebes about where he discovered such a monstrous newcomer. The mercenaries now hail Jae-woo as a monster, in awe of the incredible power hidden in his seemingly frail body. He is immediately swarmed by the enthusiastic fighters, desperately trying to fend them off as he begs internally for a break. Reebes finally steps in, parting the chaotic crowd with an intimidating aura that silences everyone. Jae-woo mistakenly believes Reebes' intense stare is a sign of special treatment because of his connection to Rude. With a decisive point, Reebes officially declares Jae-woo the new group leader for the impending battle. Jae-woo is left utterly stunned by the sudden promotion, frozen in disbelief at being named leader of the Valorstead Valor group. The scene shifts to the mercenary army marching grimly through the rain, their weapons poised for the fight ahead. Suddenly finding himself in full armor, Jae-woo looks completely bewildered as he leads the very men he just fought. A system notification confirms he has completed the quest to join the Corps and immediately assigns him the mission to retake Harheim Hill. A trivia panel reveals that the defeated mercenary Charlotte has a younger sister, Baptiste, who works as a tavern manager. The narrative reveals the Prince Elector is in a tense standoff with a hostile force on Harheim Hill, near the city of Frankfurt. A flashback depicts two colossal armies facing each other across a desolate valley, poised for a massive confrontation. A human commander bellows, signaling the start of the charge as his troops advance. The disciplined soldiers surge forward in a wave of steel, their spears leveled at the enemy. Their adversaries are revealed to be a savage horde of orcs, eagerly awaiting the clash. Back in the present, Jae-woo recalls the brutal nature of the war he has been thrust into. He grits his teeth, accepting that his mercenary group is now aligned with the Prince Elector's forces. Reebes begins the mission briefing, explaining they are in a direct standoff against the Demon King's orc army. With a determined glint in his eye, he reveals their simple but daring objective: steal the enemy commander's flag. Ribes explains the strategy, which involves a small unit exploiting a breach in the enemy lines to cause a total collapse. Reeves warns that the orcs are not just strong, but also boast the best coordination on the continent. He then turns to the Valorstead Valor group, assigning them their specific high-stakes role in the plan. Reeves declares that it's Jaewoo's duty as the new leader to personally break through the orc line. Jaewoo immediately springs into action, weaving through a flurry of deadly spear strikes. He internally panics, questioning the immense responsibility suddenly thrust upon him. As he effortlessly cuts down an orc, he laments how his simple plan has gone completely awry. He furiously recalls his original goal: to gain a few easy merits and then make a quiet escape. Meanwhile, an orc soldier rushes to his commander, reporting that their elite spearmen are unexpectedly collapsing. The orc commander reacts with disbelief, finding it impossible that his elite troops could be failing. Back on the battlefield, Jaewoo swiftly disarms a fallen orc, determined to use their own weapons against them. From a high vantage point, the orc commander surveys the battlefield through a spyglass. He lowers the scope with a look of disbelief, questioning what he's just witnessed. His view reveals Jaewoo, now armed with an orc weapon, leading a chaotic charge with his bewildered men. With a ferocious roar, Jaewoo commands his small group to shatter the orc formation. The orc commander's eye widens in alarm, a bead of sweat tracing his face as he recognizes the danger. He barks orders for his musketeers to form ranks and unleash a volley of fire. Jaewoo and his men absorb the impact, their shields taking damage as a system notification appears. A confident smirk spreads across Jaewoo's face as he exploits his knowledge of their slow-firing weapons. The orc riflemen begin their reloading sequence, the second rank taking aim as the first falls back. Jaewoo vaults over his own men's shields, capitalizing on the momentary lapse to dive into the enemy line. He roars a command for his men to tear through the remaining orcs. The orc commander watches in disbelief, unable to comprehend how one small human is dismantling his forces. As the flag-bearer, he turns to flee, realizing he cannot let these inhuman attackers seize his tribe's standard. He makes a final stand, clutching the flag that embodies the entire history and pride of his people. Jaewoo and his men bear down on the commander, who prepares to defend his honor to the last. A spear flies through the air, expertly snagging the banner right out of the commander's hands. Jaewoo triumphantly raises the captured flag, receiving a system notification for his success and a boost to his stats. Suddenly, the sound of a horn echoes across the battlefield from the Allied lines. A panicked mercenary rushes to Jaewoo, desperately trying to warn him of a new development. A strategic view reveals the horrifying truth. The main Allied army is retreating, leaving Jaewoo's group completely surrounded. The mercenaries' warning comes too late, as a fresh wave of orc reinforcements thunders towards them. Jaewoo seethes with rage, questioning why their own army would abandon them at the brink of success. One of his men panics, suggesting they abandon the mission and flee, but Jaewoo is appalled by the cowardice. The soldier desperately tries to make his leader understand the futility of their position. The grim reality sets in as they find themselves completely encircled by the enemy horde. A new, formidable figure emerges from the orc ranks, the hidden boss, Grand General Kallian, who declares their struggle is finished. With glowing red eyes, the general acknowledges the bravery of the trapped human warriors. Kallian offers them a chance at survival, promising to spare them if they return the stolen flag. Jaewoo smirks defiantly, clutching the banner and making a deeply personal and insulting threat to desecrate it. The orc general explodes in fury, utterly enraged by the profane threat against his tribe's most sacred artifact. Jaewoo brazenly declares that there are no rules in war, his intimidation attempt confirmed by a system notification. His provocative words send shockwaves of anger through the nearby orc soldiers. A close-up on the general's eye reveals a burning crimson fury that has reached its peak. The general signals the attack, and his spearmen prepare to skewer the isolated humans. The enraged general bellows the command, ordering his troops to open fire. The air fills with a storm of spears as the mercenaries brace for the inevitable impact. A system notification confirms his intimidation has failed, making him realize this isn't following the game's script. His cocky smirk vanishes, replaced by the grim realization that his knowledge is no longer an advantage. The spear volley slams into the group, shattering their shields and overwhelming their defenses. His men cry out in despair, realizing they're facing a foe far beyond what they were prepared for. Jaewoo desperately fends off the attack, knowing his current rank is no match for this monstrous foe. Panic consumes him as he frantically searches for a way out of this impossible situation. His mind flashes back to his past life, recalling his former glory alongside powerful companions. He remembers his old self, a top-ranked player with unshakable, arrogant confidence. A memory of a mysterious, white-haired girl with a smug expression surfaces in his thoughts. The girl's taunting laughter echoes in his memory, mocking his weakness in this new reality. Snapping back to the present, the terrifying memory leaves him completely aghast. His desperate men scream for their leader to give an order before they are all annihilated. His fear suddenly twists into a wide, unnerving, and borderline insane grin. Jae-woo erupts into manic laughter, leaving his bewildered men to question his sanity. He urgently demands a trumpet from a subordinate, snatching it with renewed purpose. Jae-woo silences a despairing soldier with a sharp blow, commanding him to watch his plan unfold. With fierce determination, he raises the instrument to his lips, preparing to sound a call. A powerful blast from the horn echoes across the battlefield, causing the orc horde to pause. His men question his strange tactics, but he orders them to hold their ground and prepare for impact. He smirks, confidently calling out to an unseen ally named Aquila, certain they will not abandon him. With a manic grin, he declares his own importance, believing his VIP status is his ultimate trump card. The enraged orc general ignores the display and commands his spearmen to push forward. A massive, glowing orc champion steps forward, raising its spear to strike Jae-woo down. The champion glares with a burning red eye, identifying Jae-woo as the legendary arch-enemy of its people. Jae-woo grins maniacally as the orc champion's spear point hovers just inches from his face. Suddenly, a golden blur smashes into the champion, sending the massive orc flying. A rider on a magnificent steed soars through the sky, a heroic silhouette against the sun. The cavalry arrives in the form of a blonde knight in brilliant armor, crashing down upon the orc lines. Her unicorn-like mount thunders across the battlefield, leaving a trail of chaos in its wake. The knight rallies the surrounded mercenaries, her arrival reigniting their will to fight. With a powerful voice, she commands the soldiers to raise their swords and stand their ground. A system panel reveals the deep history and honor tied to the orc flag, underscoring the insult Jae-woo delivered. The orc general halts his entire army, declaring the next battle is between him and the newcomer alone. He officially challenges the Countess of Niederbayern to a noble duel, turning the chaotic battle into a formal confrontation. The Countess accepts the duel, acknowledging the general's honor with a slight smile. Without hesitation, she launches herself at the orc general, her blade a blur of motion. Their weapons collide with explosive force, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. Jae-woo watches in awe, amazed that Aquila is already strong enough to match the formidable boss. The general counters with a powerful kick, but the knight skillfully parries the massive blow. His crimson eyes burn with exhilaration as he faces a truly worthy opponent. Changing tactics, Aquila vaults over the general, preparing a swift aerial strike. She lands a precise blow to the side of the general's head, demonstrating her martial prowess. Staggering from the impact, the general grins with delight, thrilled by the unexpected challenge. Aquila expresses her own excitement, impressed by his mastery of both swordsmanship and hand-to-hand combat. The general misidentifies her allegiance, but Aquila proudly declares she serves a higher power. Her devout declaration only brings an amused, sinister smirk to the general's face. Deciding the time for talk is over, Aquila prepares to end their duel for good. In a surprising move, the general hurls his massive sword directly at her. Aquila meets the spinning blade head-on, deflecting it with a perfectly timed strike. The incredible display of power only widens the general's exhilarated, toothy grin. He follows up by smashing his fist into the ground, shattering the earth beneath him. Looking up, the general sees his opponent descending from the sky for a final, decisive blow. Their ultimate attacks collide in a blinding flash, a testament to their equal power. With the duel concluded, Aquila walks away as the defeated general acknowledges her skill before collapsing. The orc general collapses to the ground, his sword clattering beside him as Aquila stands victorious. Seeing their leader fall, the orc army breaks into a full-scale retreat, their morale completely shattered. Jae-woo is left speechless, utterly astonished that the mighty commander was defeated in their clash. The battlefield falls silent in awe of Dame Valpurgis's overwhelming power. The once terrifying orc horde flees in a disorganized mass, leaving the mercenaries behind. The knight turns to Jae-woo, asking if he is the one in command of the mercenary group. Introducing herself as Valpurgis, she extends a hand, acknowledging the courage he displayed. He firmly shakes her hand, presenting himself with his in-game name, Valorstead Valor. A system notification immediately confirms her gesture, informing him of her newfound respect. With a confident smirk, Jae-woo admits her arrival was crucial, while cryptically hinting at his true identity. Valpurgis questions his somber mood, but Jae-woo is busy regretting his own reckless gamble. Her direct question snaps him out of his reverie, catching him completely off guard. His subordinates rush to his side, addressing him with a newfound respect as their true leader. His grateful men eagerly offer him their support, their loyalty now firmly secured. A system notification confirms his rising credibility, and he's shocked to realize he's the cause. A flashback shows his men fighting desperately, their grim determination etched on their faces. He remembers them bracing for impact, their shields sparking against the relentless orc assault. He even recalls his own desperate roar, commanding them to hold their ground no matter the cost. Back in the present, he looks at his men and finally understands the bond forged in the crucible of battle. A wave of catharsis washes over him and he erupts in joyous, unrestrained laughter. Amidst his laughter, Jae-woo triumphantly claims the orc flag as his own spoils of war. His men, bewildered by his sudden outburst, try to bring their seemingly unhinged leader back to his senses. The scene transitions to a tavern, where the victorious mercenaries are celebrating their hard-won survival. Suddenly, a small girl bursts through the doors, her silhouette dramatically framed against the light. A close-up reveals her unique, mismatched eyes and a look of pure, frantic worry on her face. She runs towards a massive, bandaged mercenary who is busy devouring a well-earned meal. Reaching him, she anxiously grabs his arm, checking him for any new injuries from the battle. As Jae-woo watches the touching reunion, a fellow mercenary clarifies that the girl is not the big man's daughter. He reveals the shocking truth. The large man is named Charlotte, and the young girl is his sister, Baptiste. The revelation leaves Jae-woo utterly bewildered, a confusion so profound it triggers a system notification. The mercenary credits their survival to Valor's leadership, leaving Jae-woo completely stunned by the praise. The entire tavern erupts into a roaring chant, hailing Valor as their savior and pledging their eternal loyalty. Flustered by the attention, Jae-woo playfully brushes off their praise, though he's clearly enjoying the moment. His men immediately notice his blushing face, playfully teasing their leader for his cute reaction. Suddenly, Valpurgis appears at the entrance, drawn by the mercenaries' boisterous celebration of their leader. Jae-woo turns to greet her, a bashful yet confident grin spreading across his face. The knight calls out his name, confirming she has come specifically to find the now famous mercenary leader. The scene transitions to the Harheim forward base, with Jae-woo now riding behind Valpurgis on her warhorse. She reveals that the Elector has personally summoned him, intending to reward him with military honors. As they ride off, Jae-woo silently observes that this Valpurgis is far more cheerful than the one he remembers. She offers her friendship, asking him to call her by name, but he maintains a formal distance. Valpurgis points to the camp below, reminding him of all the lives he single-handedly saved. She questions his somber mood, insisting that saving his fellow citizens is reason enough for joy. A painful memory surfaces of him desperately pleading with her in a past life. He recalls the moment she turned her back on him, leaving him abandoned on the floor. Returning to the present, he observes that her appearance remains completely unchanged. With a bittersweet smile, he realizes that only their relationship is different this time around. As they approach the command tent, he reflects on his new humble status as a mercenary. Valpurgis formally presents Jae-woo to the Elector, announcing his arrival. From within the tent, a powerful figure with a confident smirk finally addresses the renowned mercenary. The man introduces himself as Elector Steele, seated at the head of the War Council. Jae-woo is immediately struck by the Elector's menacing aura, recognizing him as the infamous Philip. Overwhelmed by the Elector's immense presence, Jae-woo bows, recognizing the power of a true guardian. Philip smirks, acknowledging Jae-woo's fearsome new reputation as the Reaper of the Field. The Elector praises his lion-like bravery, but Jae-woo modestly deflects the compliment. Insisting that merit must be rewarded, Philip bestows a generous sum of gold upon Jae-woo and his men. Overcome with gratitude, Jae-woo kneels and vows to repay this incredible generosity. When asked if he needs anything else, Jae-woo boldly states that he has one request. He asks for permission to take his men to rest and regroup at a location named Wittenbayer. The Elector grants his surprising request, even providing a supply wagon for their journey. The Elector senses there's more to his request, his curiosity piqued. Jae-woo reflects that he would normally back down at this point, but not today. With a flash of resolve in his eyes, he decides to push his luck even further. Valpurgis watches the exchange, intrigued by the mercenary's unexpected boldness. Gathering his courage, Jae-woo directly addresses the Elector with a question of his own. Amused by the mercenary's audacity, Philip grants him permission to speak, his eyes glowing with interest. A confident smirk plays on Jae-woo's lips as he prepares to ask a truly daring question. He boldly asks for the Elector's personal opinion on the ongoing war. A system panel flashes, detailing the immense authority of Elector Steel Philip, the guardian of humanity. Jae-woo's audacious question hangs in the air, instantly silencing the entire war council. Valpurgis blushes, caught off guard by the mercenary's boldness in the tense council room. Jae-woo smirks, fully aware he's rattled the council but feigning ignorance due to his lowly station. The Elector's gaze sharpens, turning the audacious question back on the mercenary. Jae-woo carefully explains that while he lacks the full picture, a single troubling detail has caught his attention. A council member erupts, belittling the mercenary for daring to offer advice to his superiors. The official continues his rant, accusing Jae-woo of acting on baseless rumors in front of the war council. Unmoved by the outburst, the Elector remains silent, his focus fixed solely on Jae-woo. Valpurgis unexpectedly intervenes, suggesting it would be wise to hear the mercenary's concerns. An elderly official furiously scolds Valpurgis for her impertinence in addressing an Elector. Philip coolly silences the man, revealing Valpurgis's noble lineage and demanding she be shown respect. Jae-woo internally notes that even the formidable Elector can't simply disregard Valpurgis's opinion. With a curt gesture, the Elector dismisses the fuming official's objections and allows Jae-woo to proceed. Philip then directly asks the mercenary to share his unvarnished assessment of the war. Jae-woo gets straight to the point, boldly declaring that he foresees an ambush. The Elector remains composed, calmly demanding the basis for such a serious accusation. Jae-woo confidently explains that his reasoning is based on the Demon King Pizamut's historical reliance on ambushes and betrayal. He supports his claim with a flashback to the brutal, chaotic demon attacks of the past. Jae-woo cites the war with the Kingdom of Toa 10 years ago as his first piece of evidence. He follows up by mentioning the battle with Margrave Anhalt 6 years ago, highlighting a clear pattern of deception. His eyes gleam with certainty as he prepares to deliver the final part of his analysis. He concludes his analysis, warning the council not to overlook the Demon King's history of using traitors. The Elector's face falls into shadow as he presses Jae-woo to clarify his grave insinuation. Philip directly asks if Jae-woo is accusing someone present, but the mercenary simply calls it a possibility. With a thin smile, the Elector appears to agree that exercising caution is always wise. Philip shifts in his throne, his mood turning ominous as he mulls over the mercenary's words. His friendly facade vanishes, replaced by a predatory grin as he remarks on Jae-woo's incredible nerve. The Elector delivers a chilling threat, reminding Jae-woo that he only lives by Philip's grace. Before a shocked Valpurgis can intervene, Jae-woo calmly acknowledges the Elector's warning. Having made his point, the mercenary turns to leave, leaving a stunned Valpurgis in his wake. Valpurgis watches him go, visibly flustered by the tense and dangerous exchange. With a final bow, Jae-woo apologizes for his audacity before taking his leave. He strides out of the council room, a steely glint in his eyes as he departs. Alone with his thoughts, Jae-woo realizes the Elector's arrogance is a stark departure from his previous, more prudent self. His suspicion solidifies as he senses a fundamental shift in this timeline. He recalls the early appearance of the red dragon fruits, the first sign that events were off script. Then there's Valpurgis, whose presence is another major anomaly, confirming his past runs are no longer a reliable guide. As he ponders the cause of these changes, a familiar voice calls out his name. Jae-woo turns, his expression hardening as he sees who has followed him. Valpurgis catches her breath, having rushed from the council room to find him. Flustered but determined, she announces she has finally caught up to him. Jae-woo turns to face Valpurgis, who is still catching her breath from the chase. He teases her about being worried, and her earnest confirmation makes him find her endearing. Valpurgis sincerely apologizes for the Elector's behavior, offering to grant any request as an apology. She boldly tells him to name his price, leaving the mercenary flustered by the generous offer. He tests her resolve, but she confidently boasts about her family's immense wealth, able to fulfill any desire. Jae-woo's mind races with possibilities, getting comically overwhelmed by her financial power. He quickly composes himself, his flustered demeanor giving way to focused resolve. A sly smile forms on his lips as he formulates a very specific request. He asks for only a writing quill and a pistol, completely baffling the noble knight. Valpurgis questions his modest request, but Jae-woo calmly insists it's all he requires. He theatrically explains his dream is to become a cavalryman, and the pistol is a personal desire. Valpurgis questions his sudden tears, which he comically dismisses as the tears of a man. She expresses admiration for his apparent selflessness, while he cryptically hints at the sacrifices he's made. A flustered Valpurgis decides this conversation is best had elsewhere. She suddenly grabs his hand, pulling the surprised mercenary along with her. Jae-woo calls out to the knight as she confidently leads him away from the camp. He's left blushing and flustered as her hair whips past his face. A close-up reveals just how much her sudden move has rattled the usually composed mercenary. The scene abruptly shifts, jumping forward in time. Two massive armies now stand poised for battle, ready to fight for control of Harheim Hill. On the battlefield, Elector Philip boldly declares he will finally defeat the Demon King Pizzamut. Across the field, a bored Pizzamut mockingly complains about the Elector's loud pronouncements. His subordinate confirms that all their preparations for the battle are complete. The subordinate then questions the Demon King's decision to involve a mysterious woman from Hexax. He voices his fear of her notorious cruelty, recalling a grim scene as Pizzamut dismisses his concerns. Just as they speak of her, Pizzamut's ring begins to glow, signaling a connection. A woman's voice emanates from the ring, announcing her presence to the Demon King. The mysterious woman, seen in silhouette, eagerly declares her readiness, unnerving the demons around her. Pizzamut sternly instructs her to remain focused, receiving a cheerful confirmation in return. A close-up on the Demon King's eye hints at a deeper, unspoken element to his plan. The woman from Hexax stands over a fallen soldier, playfully asking the Demon King to go easy. His subordinate explodes in frustration, insisting she always takes things too far. She just flashes a wicked smile, completely unbothered by the accusation. With a hand on her glowing choker, she innocently claims she always holds back. A close-up on her menacing red eye reveals the chilling truth behind her words. The Demon King ends the communication, leaving his subordinate to stew in his anxiety. The subordinate nervously recalls her ominous promise as another soldier urgently calls for his lord. The scene cuts away to Jae-woo, who is now galloping through the night on a powerful steed. A nearby soldier watches in awe, stunned by the incredible speed of the rider he calls Philly. He realizes the horse is no ordinary mount, but a prized steed from the renowned House Bayern. He considers the perfect healing potion Valpurgis gave him, a gift worth an entire building. An explosion erupts in the distance, jolting him back to the urgency of the battle. Realizing the fight has begun without him, a look of grim determination crosses his face. He knows even the formidable Elector is doomed, predicting a reckless and fatal charge. Jae-woo's mind flashes forward, certain of a specific disastrous outcome. He envisions the Elector, consumed by rage, falling right into the enemy's trap. Two conspirators, one a portly noble and the other a demon, share a triumphant, mocking laugh. The mercenary's premonition solidifies. The Elector is about to be betrayed by his own kin. In his vision, a defeated Elector confronts his treacherous uncle on the war-torn ground. The uncle smirks, callously informing his nephew of his hopeless predicament. In his vision, the uncle reveals he's framed Philip for treason, showing his secret pact with the Demon King. He then declares his intention to arrest his own nephew, acting under the guise of loyalty to the emperor. The treacherous noble smugly faces his defeated nephew, savoring the moment. His eyes glow with malice as he mockingly asks if Philip finally understands his hopeless situation. The Elector stares back in utter disbelief, unable to process the depth of the betrayal. Just then, the Demon King himself arrives, grinding his boot into the fallen Elector's face. Pizzamut coldly dismisses Philip's defiance, looking down on him with utter disdain. With a snap of his fingers, the Demon King orders his men to restrain the captured noble. Philip desperately tries to crawl away as demonic soldiers close in with ropes. The proud Elector breaks down completely, tears of fear and humiliation marking his defeat. Annoyed by the Elector's despair, Pizzamut orders him silenced, just as Valpurgis descends from the sky. She interrupts the Demon King's gloating with a swift, powerful kick directly to his face. Staggering back from the unexpected blow, a furious Pizzamut watches the knight land gracefully. Valpurgis immediately takes command, ordering her loyal knights to get the Elector out of there. As Philip's group flees, his uncle panics, but Pesamut angrily dismisses his frantic warnings. The Demon King calmly contacts his ace in the hole, informing the woman from Hexax of the escape route. She answers the call while casually sitting on a restrained demon, admitting she was just having some fun. Pesamut sternly commands her to stop messing around and get to work, receiving a cheerful confirmation. With a wicked grin, she turns to her unseen allies and declares that it's time for them to hunt. She unleashes a pack of monstrous shadowhounds, their glowing eyes fixed on the terrified, fleeing Elector. As Jae-woo gallops through the forest, the woman's shadowhounds begin to descend from the cliffs above. The monstrous pack surrounds him, forcing him to draw his weapon as they close in for the attack. His eyes narrow with grim recognition, identifying the creatures as the notorious zombie dogs of Hexax. He recalls her cruel strategy of using the hounds to wear down her opponents before she finishes them off. A hound with glowing red eyes lunges at him, aiming for a surprise attack from behind. Jae-woo swiftly cuts down the beast, expressing his disdain for such a dishonorable tactic. Tossing the creature's remains aside, he shows his familiarity with the fighting style of Hexax. He quickly deduces this is just a small detachment, realizing the main pack must be chasing Philip. Yet his true worry isn't for the Elector, but for Valpurgis, who is caught in the middle of the chaos. Pushing his steed to its limit, he leaps over the remaining hounds, desperate to reach her in time. The scene cuts to the main chase, where the Elector's group is completely surrounded by a horde of shadowhounds. The monstrous pack relentlessly pursues the terrified noble and his dwindling escort through the dark forest. Elsewhere, the Demon King seethes with rage, his mana control faltering as he blames his subordinate for the complication. Philip furiously pushes his horse onward, disgusted by the underhanded tactics being used against him. A hound suddenly breaks from the pack, leaping directly towards the vulnerable Elector. A look of sheer terror crosses Philip's face as the beast's fangs come within inches of him. In a flash of silver armor, Valpurgis launches herself into the air to intercept the attacking hound. With a powerful kick, she sends the creature hurtling away, saving the Elector from a gruesome fate. She lands perfectly behind Philip on his steed, seamlessly rejoining the desperate escape. Valpurgis calmly checks on the Elector, who can only stare back, shaken but unharmed by the close call. Valpurgis warns they're entering unexplored territory, demanding extreme caution. Suddenly, a desperate cry from behind snaps Philip's attention back to the chase. One of his knights is being overwhelmed by the hounds, pleading for the Elector to save him. Philip looks on in horror, clearly shaken by the brutal fate of his subordinate. Valpurgis immediately prepares to turn back, vowing to save the struggling knight. But Philip screams her name, his expression a mixture of panic and command. He nervously suggests that they should just leave the fallen knight behind. The Elector coldly declares that his life is far more important than his soldiers. Valpurgis is stunned into silence, questioning the very definition of a noble's duty. She clenches her jaw in bitter disappointment, regretting her decision to protect such a man. In a flashback, Philip bitterly recalls a council meeting, regretting his choice to ignore the advice of a man named Valor. He remembers his past arrogance, once confident he could have handled the entire crisis on his own. Even his remaining knight realizes their dire situation is a direct result of dismissing Sir Valor's counsel. Their escape is cut short as the woman from Hexax appears, finding their despair amusing as she attacks Valpurgis. Valpurgis grits her teeth, barely managing to block a vicious downward slash from her gleeful attacker. The force of the blow sends her tumbling from the horse, her hand outstretched towards the Elector she was protecting. A bead of sweat traces down both their faces, their eyes wide with the shock of the sudden ambush. She crashes hard onto the forest floor, now completely separated from the fleeing Elector. Her assailant's weapon lashes out, striking the earth just inches from her as the horse rears in panic. With her armored hand pressed to the dirt, a sense of utter doom washes over the fallen knight. Philip glances back, his face a mask of fear and indecision as he abandons his protector. On the ground, Valpurgis grits her teeth, her faith in the Elector's honor completely shattered. Her assailant mockingly rejects this notion of duty, preparing her weapon with a cruel smirk. The woman from Hexax taunts the fallen knight, suggesting that true power is what defines a leader. With glowing red eyes, she reveals a shocking connection, referring to the defeated Valpurgis as her sister. A character profile confirms the Demon King's mastery of necromancy and reveals Philip's uncle as a traitor.